Please rewind this cassette.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dreadful, and this is the Dr. Dreadful Food Lab. Makes lots of gross things, and then you eat them. Dr. Dreadful's monster skin. Care for a tasty tarantula, fly, cockroach? You can make swarms. And now magic powder, stir, and blast your brains. Fruity. The Dr. Dreadful Food Lab makes gross things again and again. It's totally dreadful.
Hey there, Rewinders. So anyone remember the 80s? Well, it's not like I was alive during the 80s, but I like to pretend that I was. It's so much fun to yell at Zoomers and to tell them that my movies were better back in my day, even though it really wasn't my day. Throughout the years, one filmmaker's work has not only stood the test of time, but in many ways has only improved upon rewatch. I'm talking about John Carpenter, and what I consider to be his most underrated film. This is Halloween Rewind. Carpenter first made a name for himself in the late 70s. The film that really put him on the map was Halloween, a film that with Black Christmas helped kick off the slasher boom of the 1980s. From that point on, all of his films went on to become cult classics. I mean, you got The Fog, Escape from New York, The Thing, Starman, Christine, Big Trouble in Little China, They Live. But the one I think doesn't get discussed enough is an amazing horror gem called Prince of Darkness. Now wait for this premise. Looking around in a church cellar, a priest, played by Donald Pleasance, finds an otherworldly vial filled with slime. Frightened by this, he brings his discovery to a circle of top scholars and scientists, who eventually learn that the strange liquid is the essence of Satan. The slime then begins to seep out, turning some of the academics into zombies. Holy shit! Scientists versus Satan? Skepticism versus the supernatural? This movie features elements of The Thing and Assault on Precinct 13, or even Night of the Living Dead. Most of the movie takes place in this church, and you right away get the sense that there's no way out of this situation. The cast is filled with likable actors like Dr. Loomis himself, that Asian guy from Big Trouble in Little China, and the lead guy, who should have been Kurt Russell. It really bothers me this isn't Kurt Russell. Oh, and Alice Cooper. Prince of Darkness was shot in Los Angeles, California over 30 days. Carpenter became inspired while researching theoretical physics and atomic theory. He recalled, "I thought it would be interesting to create some sort of ultimate evil and combine it with the notion of matter and antimatter." The idea, which would eventually develop into the screenplay for Prince of Darkness, was to be the first of a multi-picture deal with Alive Pictures, where Carpenter was allowed $3 million per film and complete creative control. Carpenter used wide-angle lenses, an anamorphic format to create a lot of distortion to keep you sort of off-center while watching the film. According to Carpenter in the DVD commentary, the post-production on the film was done at the Walt Disney Studios in Burbank, California. I guess in a lot of ways this does feel like a lesser Carpenter picture, but the movie's tone and atmosphere starts to take control over you. It's honestly one of the scariest films I've ever seen, and in its best moments, you feel like evil is in the room with you. For what seems like a small-scale story, the movie has apocalyptic overtones and a brilliant narrative gimmick of a message from the future. This all concludes with one of the best endings of any Carpenter film. Transmissions from the future lead to a haunting dream sequence that leaves us with someone looking into a mirror. Speaking of mirrors, they are brilliantly used throughout the movie to represent the access to another world. It also shows, or I think thematically is saying, is that evil is reflected in all of us. And in some sense, we are the ones who lets evil and Satan into our lives.
Welcome to Mystery Mansion, where I've hidden $1 million for you to find. All you have to do is find the right clues. Perhaps my electronic organizer can help.
You found a clue.
Now, where could those precious millions be? Maybe in the study?
The money is not in the study.
Or maybe not. Ah, secret message. Well, you found the right clues, but you'll never find the money.
You found the money.
I'm rich!
Find your fortune in Mystery Mansion. It's just a game. Or is it?
Critics were pretty tough on this movie, and it didn't have much of an impact at the box office, even though it did make a profit at $14 million. General audiences seem mixed on it, but true horror fans know what's up. This movie just works. Who cares if it has a thin plot and silly logic? Listen, just like comedy, horror doesn't need to be seamless as long as it gets the right reaction out of you. And this movie is creepy, and that's all it really needs to be. I think the movie's biggest issue is that we don't get enough time with the characters before the action starts, so it's hard to care about everyone. And the performances themselves aren't really anything special. Perhaps the biggest problem is how easy it is to compare this to his better films. But if you can ignore that and go with the ride, this movie is a truly strange and memorable experience. Prince of Darkness holds up due to the strength of its premise and the sheer talent of John Carpenter as a master of tension. I promise, after it's over, you'll never look at a mirror the same way again. So give it a watch. And happy Halloween, guys. Also, tell me, what's your favorite John Carpenter film? Leave it in the comments.